I'm Heather Flanagan-Steet. I'm the Director of Functional Studies here at the Greenwood Genetic Center. The Greenwood Genetic Center is first and foremost a pediatric clinic, really unlike any other institution, particularly any other medical institution, in that we're really comprised of 4 distinct divisions that work very closely together. So we have a clinical division where obviously geneticists and clinicians see patients. We have a diagnostic division where we have world-class laboratories that are able to perform genetic testing for our patients. And then what most institutions wouldn't have is we have a research division where we can take those analyses one step further and provide answers to our patients. But we also have an education division, and we're committed to educating other people in the state, future workforce, future scientists and clinicians at being able to provide genetic care for patients. So by having all of the different divisions under one roof at this institution, we are able to connect all the dots. We're able to see the patient, try to evaluate what the problem is, investigate, use genetic testing to find the problem, and then take it all the way across the finish line to what's causing the clinical features, and then how might we intervene. And that certainly helps that patient, but just by helping that one patient, there may not be other children with that same disorder right now, but what we're learning can be applied often to many children, and that's really important. So we have a number of ongoing cases where we're trying to find answers for our patients, but one in particular, the system that we work with is the Zebrafish. So the Zebrafish is really powerful for looking at those genetic variants because we can actually introduce those variants into the zebrafish's own genome. So there are a number of methods that we can use to modify genetic sequences in the fish, but mostly we use the explosion of programmable nucleases like CRISPR. We go in and actually use the CRISPR system to target a particular region in the DNA. We're able to cut it, open it up, and then we can introduce changes into it that way. We have a child who has a progressive ataxia, so she's becoming less and less coordinated as she gets older. And we were able to model or sort of introduce her genetic alteration into the fish. We were able to identify that that was the problem causing her motility issues, and then now have been able to study those animals. We understand the path that's leading to her problems, and we found several drugs that we're working with to see if we can use them to normalize and intervene. So for me, innovation is something we do every single day. So it's not about the sort of the big breakthrough, the big, oh, there's a new tool. Certainly new tools, new technologies, new instrumentation, they're essential to what we do. They transform the questions we can ask. But for me, innovation is those little steps we take every day. A big breakthrough, a new insight, a solution for a patient, it doesn't come as one giant light bulb in one day. It's every day asking one little question and then using that answer, what's the next question? Answering the next question. And it's when you get all those very small answers and you draw the connections that the answer comes, the solution comes. And for me, that's really what I think about with innovation, is just that daily small step till you have the story, the answer. Yeah, so I think in any scientific pursuit, when you're trying to answer a question, it is very habitual, it is very sort of systematic. You have to be incredibly focused on details, keep everything the same each time. But I think within that, you have to be careful to not get bogged down by dogma. You can't be locked into what you think this should look like or the way you think this works. The bottom line is scientists are truth seekers, and your job is to find the truth, not the truth you want it to be or what you thought the model was, the truth that is. So The danger is getting too caught up in what you think that answer looks like. And so while we have to be very systematic, very detail-oriented, we have to be incredibly open-minded. So I have to come in every day being ready to be absolutely flabbergasted by the piece of data that gets put in front of me. I've said on many occasions, that is not at all what I thought you were going to show me. Please go back and do it again and convince me that that's what it is. In that way, you have to stay very loose-minded and able to receive something different, and then spend a lot of time thinking about, what does that mean? And what is that next question then? I really resist the concept that anything is a failure. I think anytime you are brave enough to try something or brave enough to ask a question, you have to be ready for the answer that you thought. It's something else. You're going to be wrong in science the vast majority of the time, but that's not really the point. The point isn't about whether you got it right or your answer was wrong. It's about what the answer is and then providing the next question. So I don't really see anything as a failure. I just see it as a series of things that didn't work. But without those, I don't know what the next right question to ask is. So it's all about finding the path through those things that didn't work. Being a good scientist is an acquired skill, right? When you're young, you have the curiosity, you have the energy, you have the desire to answer the questions. You don't necessarily have the mental discipline nor the technical skills yet. So part of the process is not just acquiring the technical skills. That's actually the easy part. The more difficult part is the mental discipline and the acceptance that in your pursuit, many times you're going to get it wrong, and sort of reevaluating that information and then going back after it. When you're married to your business partner, your life is an enormous collaboration. Your personal life, your professional life, those lines get incredibly blurred. But collaboration is everything. And one of the things that I've learned by being married to my business partner and closest collaborator is I don't know when the ideas are mine and when they're his, or when there's someone else's on the team. I see ideas as something that are seeded and then just grow and change and develop. And that can be something he said, not meaning to say anything profound, or something I read, or something one of my other collaborators says. So collaboration is key to solving problems and advancing. And at the end of the day, science and medicine are moving so fast, and there's so many different ways we can approach them. I can't be an expert in them all, and I think one way. And when my collaborator comes and thinks as an engineer or a mathematician, it brings layers and insights that I alone can't achieve. The people that I have most benefited from collaborating with are people that are really open-minded, and they're incredibly engaged. And so they don't come to a project with a preconceived notion as to what's going to come out at the end. They're just very sharing, and good collaborators feed off each other, so they're excellent listeners, and they're also the people that don't have to be the loudest voice in the room. They're willing to sort of listen, engage, sort of stew on something, and you play off each other really well. I think staying relevant and current today with science and technology and medicine moving as quickly as it is definitely a challenge. You have to stay incredibly engaged. You have to read a lot. But it can also be that you attend meetings, you go to conferences, you talk to people. And I might have missed a critical paper, but my husband says, "Did you see this paper?" Or my collaborators across the street say, "I read this great paper, you need to read it." So we really have to function as a community and help each other stay at the forefront and the cutting edge. I think when you're married to your business partner, work-life balance is a little bit difficult. The sort of lines between personal and professional are blurred, right? But you do have to create protected time and say, there's not gonna be any shop talk over the dinner table with the family, or this is time that we're sharing with our community and our friends and our family. But what's funny is it's often in those times that, again, your mind is relaxed and free, and that idea comes. My name is Heather Flanagan-Steet, and these are my notes on innovation.